Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
You're working out, eating right, living a healthy lifestyle, but your energy sucks. This could be a sign of low testosterone. Where do you turn for help? The answer is Limitless Male, the #1 testosterone clinic for men in the Midwest. Start by scheduling your free consult at one of our 13 clinics. If low T is the diagnosis, a custom treatment plan will get your energy back on track. What are you waiting for? Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe. Why wait until Friday to start your weekend?
Go ahead, start right now.
You're thirsty now, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to help you stock up.
Just in time for the weekend when I like to hit the clubs.
Time to broaden your horizons and try some new wine and beer. It's Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle.
Yeah, a little poppy.
That
little poppy.
That was an 8.
Oh yeah! Oh my!
That was a good one.
Yeah, you made up for it with that one, Kev.
Pop, pop, fizz, fizz.
You made up for that one because it's a little
Kevin
something
Meyer,
special.
Eric Strickland, Austin Norman, old school, Thirsty Thursday. Welcome in, Kevin.
It's a little something special with that one you got in your hand, Kev, because Huskers got a big game tonight. I mean,
Yes,
they don't do it like the women, but the women do it in a quarterly fashion, but the men do it in a half fashion. You didn't come half fashioned. You came with.
I came with a beer called the Fourth Quarter.
Yeah.
And it is a sports drink inspired sour ale.
Kevin, we're doing the
4
thing.
up, Kev.
Thing.
No, we're doing the 4.
Doing the
Yeah,
thing.
fourth
There we
quarter,
go.
baby.
Okay, we're good. Thank
Fourth
you.
quarter. Yeah, it's from Prairie Artisan Ales, and I believe they're out of Oklahoma, out of I think Stillwater. But it's a sports drink inspired sour with natural flavors, and I don't know. Should be kind of fun. Now I'm kind of wondering though, since it's a sour, if that's not going to set up the wine too well. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we should do the wine first.
Okay. And this is a special wine you were telling us, Kevin. Why is it a special wine?
It's special because I like it. And that's basically what makes it special. And I don't drink a lot of Merlot, but this is a Merlot, and I think it's probably one of my favorite wines in the store. And it is called Ferrari Carano.
Well, we don't have to worry about Ellie.
Yeah,
No,
she's officially ditched us.
She
kinda
has.
sad,
I
but-
know. She's soft.
Say that again for the people in back.
She's soft.
That's getting clipped, Ellie. You're soft.
Ellie, I love you, but you're soft.
Preach.
So the gentleman who founded this winery was a billionaire, made his money in casinos. And so the winery was a passion project for him. And I honestly think if he were anybody else, the wines would be double the price because they're that good. And they're on the Sonoma line of the Mayacamas Mountain Ridge. So it's known as Alexander Valley. And it is basically a mirror image of Napa. However, just by jumping on the other side of the mountain ridge, the wines are generally about 40% less in cost, just because Napa's become such an expensive place to do business. And
so literally just making that move dropped your cost
about 40%.
What I need to pause on that one.
Pause.
Like, is it because of the cost to do business, or is it because of getting into the what's the word? Where the logistics of getting it in and out of there? Like, what do you think the cost would jump that significantly or drop that significantly just because of location?
I think it has more to do with land costs. Land costs in Napa Valley. Basically Napa came first. And so Sonoma's always kind of been about 20 years behind Napa when it comes to wine production and prestige and quality as well. Now, to me, the differential isn't quite there anymore. I think the Sonoma wines are pretty much equal to the Napa ones, or darn close.
Yeah.
Certainly not 40% less. And but land values on the Sonoma side are about what Napa's were, 10, 15 years ago. So I think that plays a big part of it. And then, of course, everything gets compounded by taxes and labor costs and things like that as well. Housing, getting help. You probably have to pay your help a significant amount more money so that they can live in Napa Valley versus live in maybe a small area in Sonoma. So
what do you like about this Merlot? But if it's your favorite, what do you like about it?
For starters, it's just like drinking velvet.
Yes. I was going to say most Merlots are super dry, but this gives you just a little hint of some elegancy.
It's a lot of times Merlot to me can be kind of bright. And maybe even a little on the sort of sour tart cherry side.
Yeah.
This one is rich, plushy, velvety, and you get those real dark fruits instead of those bright red fruits.
Yeah.
And a lot of times Merlot too can kind of have a bell peppery taste to it. This just is not like that. So I call it a cab drinker's Merlot because it has that richness and full bodiness of a Cabernet, but no edge to it whatsoever. It's just like plushy velvet.
Good call. Look, that's what I was feeling. And it's one of those situations where someone can actually say what you're feeling better than what you could do if you said it.
Sometimes verbalizing what it is that you're tasting or how it feels in your mouth or the flavors that you're getting, that can be the hard part.
Yeah.
And so, it's just kind of part of the experience of being in the business as long as I have. You learn to verbalize those things. And it makes it so that even people that are just listening on the air and don't have that glass of wine from, they can relate to that. And so go ahead.
They should get this glass of wine in front of them. This is incredible.
It is good.
If it's your favorite wine, you got to have something that's your favorite to pair with it. What are you drinking this with?
Tonight, I stopped by Leon's local grocery on my way here, and I got some bone-in chicken quarters, and I'm gonna marinate those up, and then I'm gonna go low and slow on the Traeger, get a good smoke on there, nice crispy skin, and I think that's where we're going with
no
this.
marinade, no.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna marinate them. I usually just kind of do an Italian style, so some olive oil, a little cider vinegar. Salt, pepper, and then a good fair amount of Italian seasoning, and it's just for the marinade. And
big grill guy.
Yeah.
Of the old world wine producers, what does this remind you of? Is it its own American thing, or does it remind you of any old worlds?
The old world ones to me generally are a little earthier. They actually like for you to taste what they call the terroir or the terrain. Essentially the soils and minerals in which the grapes are grown. So to me, this is kind of a unique American Merlot. But the thing I love about Merlot is that while it can be a little more hit and miss, when you get a good one, it makes a difference. And it's one of those that you just kind of go, wow. And these are on the shelf every day for $30. So it's not like it's an insanely expensive wine. It's not cheap, but to me, it definitely punches above its weight class.
It does. Yeah, it definitely Bud Crawford's up to what's big fella's name?
Tyson Fury?
No, the one that Canelo.
Oh, Canelo.
Yeah, it definitely Bud Crawford's up to Canelo.
I can't wait for that.
It's coming up August, baby.
I tell you what, that is the way boxing used to be, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Mayweather, Pacquiao can't get a contract together, and so they fight each other when they're 40 and they're all past their prime. This is Hagler, Sugar Ray. Hearns, Hagler. We're talking the old school, pit them together in their prime,
Muhammad Frazier.
Yeah. Ali Frazier, that even Foreman Ali. They're the 2 pound for pound best fighters in the world right now, gonna see each other in their
Thriller
prime.
in the Villa.
And the thing that I love about this most, you're so funny.
Right.
You're cracking me up, dude. Thing I love about it most is that it sets itself up for a rematch automatically, regardless of who wins. And then if they split, then there's a trilogy, right?
Right.
And so we're going to be talking. I mean, it's going to elevate boxing back to the way it used to be for a good 5 years. And I just can't wait.
You seem like you missed the old days of boxing.
When I was a kid, my dad was a big boxing buff. In fact,
did you ever get into it yourself?
I did. I actually, at UNL, there was a UNL boxing club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, ended up with a couple separated shoulders
Pugilist?
out of the deal. I wanted to be. Mostly it was just to kind of keep in shape, but sometimes tempers flared a little bit. But let's get into the beer. So fourth quarter, and it is a sports drink inspired sour ale from Prairie Artisan Ales in Oklahoma.
It looks like lemon lime Gatorade.
It does, and I think that's part of it. I think they intentionally made it look like that.
Ooh.
Kind of even smells like lemon lime
a
Gatorade.
little bit.
Oh wow! It tastes like it.
Kind of drinks like it.
It
too.
does.
Kind of drinks like it.
That's
No way.
crazy. Look at Austin calling it out. Like Austin, yes, that's it.
Wow.
Does not taste like it has booze in
No.
it.
No,
Like,
not the slightest.
you could drop this in a Gatorade
maybe
bottle.
a little
and
bit on the back.
a little bit on the back.
Maybe.
After the wine, it was kind of tough for me to tell, but yeah, you could drop this in a Gatorade bottle and no one would know the difference.
Yeah, and it can drop you in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I suppose. Especially if you
yeah,
got really hydrated.
you
Right,
probably
you know?
pound that and end up not being able to put up a 4, but you put up a 1, and you're gonna need some help.
You're gonna need to tap out.
We don't have a lot of sours. Maybe walk people through what a sour is, just as a reminder.
A sour is a
that's
beer
good.
that is fermented with a special bacteria. And there are different types. One of the is called Brettanomyces or Brett. And then
Just call it Brett. Hang out with my pal Brett.
Right, exactly. Saccharomycin is the other one, which I think that more kettle sours kind of use that saccharomycin, and it's a bacteria. And it used to be where if your beer got any of that, it was ruined. And then they just kind of started playing with it, started playing with flavors and extracts and additives and and just kind of seeing where they could take it. And now, obviously, we're drinking a lemon lime sports drink inspired beer that tastes like a sports drink, and it's kind of crazy.
When they didn't want this saccharomycin, where did it come from? How did it get introduced accidentally?
Well,
before intentionally.
Bacteria lives naturally in the air and in the walls and crevices of of everything. And so I think it was one of those that maybe their equipment wasn't as sanitized as it should have been. And but everything is kind of a happy accident. It's like when champagne happened. If your wine had bubbles in it, it was ruined. But there was one monk, and they made a lot of wine in the monasteries, and there was one monk named Dom Perignon who kind of went, "Hey, this is kind of cool." And so he's famous. His famous saying was, "Brothers, come quickly, I'm tasting stars," and hence the romance of champagne began. But it began by accident, and I think sour beers began the same way.
Stricky, any of your teammates would they have accidentally poured this in their Gatorade bottle in the NBA?
There's a few of them in there.
I won't have you name names.
I would say the more we went, the earlier towards the 90s, more so, because I think we used to have like beers in the locker room, but then as we got later, people did. They had them in there. So after a game, you could pop one or whatever the case may be. But it was more that was available to you, even on the plane.
Yeah.
More so during that earlier period, more so than the later period.
Yeah. Marshawn Lynch famously said he used to do a shot of Henny before the game.
And you believed him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I do too.
Yeah.
I believe him.
That's crazy.
Henny, short for Hennessy, cognac.
Right.
Brandy.
All right. Let's set the stage here too, Kev.
Yeah.
We're a month out for Valentine's Day. It is not too early to get to Myers Cork and Bottle and think ahead, gentlemen.
That's facts right there. I like the way you're going with this. Valentine's Day is basically meant to earmark what you should be doing every day. And but if you want to blow it up, and let's just say maybe your relationship is a little on the younger side, I will say that my experience has led me to believe, especially when it comes to the female persuasion, above and beyond anything else, they want your time. And if they can't have it physically, they want it mentally and emotionally. And so the more you can think through your gift or your plan or your execution, and the more it looks like you gave them your mental time. And so don't wait till the last minute. Come see Uncle Kev. We can get you fixed up with something that will keep the romance flowing. And you've got a whole month. So don't say we didn't warn you.
We're trying, fellas. We are trying our best. 13th and South, Myers, Cork, and Bottle. Go find them. There's the neon. You can't miss it. If you do, it's on you. So we tried. We're doing our
Appreciate you,
best.
fellas. Thanks you.
Thanks as always, Kevin. Stricky, go rest up. We'll see you back here in an hour and a half.
Yeah, I'll be back. WTF 6-7. See you soon.
Till then, more old school after this.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through January 29th is $2 off bacon, $2 off summer sausage, and 20% off on crackers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake. The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today. Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular single-axle light American lager, Brick Street amber wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and we wanted to give a special shout out to all of our great customers, thanking you all for a record-setting year in 2024. Now let's get the new year rolling with some big savings. Right now at Cobble, we have some of the biggest discounts in the area with over $12,000 off list price or 0% APR on select new models. So stop on in the dealership or hit us up online at cobblecars.com to get true low country overhead in action. $12,000 off list or 0% APR right now at Cobble. So please stop on in or visit us at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did.
The Body Lab, located at 14th and Yankee Hill, is Lincoln's premier physical therapy and recovery lab. The Body Lab offers trigger point dry needling, cupping therapy, joint manipulation, and so much more. Looking to relax and relieve stress after a long day or difficult workout? The Body Lab's recovery lab is the ideal spot. Featuring infrared sauna, a cold plunge tub, or if you're just looking for enough space to stretch out and reset your mind. Learn more about memberships and schedule your service today at thebodylablnk.com. Or visit the Body Lab in person at 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. This is Old School on The Ticket. I'm Austin Norman, taking you through the next half an hour or so before we hear from Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. He's on the road, but he's hopping on the show for hour 2 today. Stick with us. Jay will be with us again in about 25 minutes or so. Till then, this is Old School, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Special ingredient butcher shop, every type of meat and every type of cut, as Jay would say. And also the home of Fired Up Fridays at the North 84th Street location on 84th and Havelock. They have Fired Up Fridays beginning at 11, runs till 2, but it's first come and first serve. Tomorrow's lunch special for Fired Up Friday, muffaletta. Their description is a savory muffaletta with incontro cured mortadella, fresh tomato, crisp iceberg lettuce, and onion topped with olive oil and balsamic vinegar. And get the muffaletta for $15. With a combo, it would be either 16 or 17 if you want a side and or a drink. So check out the Mercado. Got 3 Lincoln locations, one up in Omaha, but the Fired Up Friday location for you is 84th and Havelock here in Lincoln. 402-464-5685. The first question I want to ask you guys, who is the best college basketball player you've seen in person? Who's the best college basketball player you've seen in person? I asked some people in my circle this question last night. My dad said for him it was Danny Manning back in 1998. My buddy Landon said it's been a lot for him. Marcus Smart and Trae Young he got to see in person. We watched Zach Edey, Luka Garza, and of course Nebraska's own Keisei Tominaga. Blake Griffin was also on his list. And then my buddy Matt probably wins this exercise here. He saw 2015 Kentucky in person. That is absolutely an incredible team to have gotten to witness in person. He saw Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins, Frank Kaminsky, Frank Mason, Marcus Howard, Reed Shepard, Cassius Winston in person as well. Miles Powell, Tyshawn Alexander, and Carson Edwards for him. My list is not nearly as impressive as my buddy Matt's list is, but I've been pretty lucky to see at least my fair share of pretty darn good players. Pecan Pie says Nick Collison. Nick Collison. Now there's a name, right? I mean, that's the guy that I remember obviously with Kansas, but I think of him as a Thunder player as well. That's where that comes to mind. I need to look up Nick Collison's college stats here. 2000 to 2003 for Kansas, all-tournament team for the NCAA, 2-time all-region selection, 2002-2003 Big 12 Player of the Year, 3-time All-Big 12 performer, and 2002 All-Big 12 tournament team. 56% shooter for his career, 36% from 3 and 62% at the free throw line, 25.2 win shares. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. First-team All-American as a senior. People underrate Nick Collison. They underrate Nick Collison. Another one of those guys that I think felt like he was in college forever, but he really only played his 4 years of eligibility. Josh and Davey says Isaiah Roby is the best college player he's seen in person. I would argue if you saw Isaiah Roby, you saw some better guys on Nebraska's teams. But Josh and Davey, I do want to know what made you think Isaiah Roby was the best college basketball player you ever saw. 0658 says, saw Collison and crew at the McDonald's All-Star Game in Ames. That is a wild place to have a McDonald's All-Star Game in Ames, Iowa. But yeah, that's probably, I'm sure, an incredible, that'd be what, the 1999 McDonald's All-Americans? Let's look up this list. 1999 McDonald's All-Americans. Let's see here. Okay, the All-American Boys Game. Let's see. East roster: Keith Bogans, Kenny Satterfield, Majestic Mapp, Marvin Stone, Damian Wilkins, Casey Sanders, Jason Williams, DeMar Johnson, Donnell Harvey, and Joseph Forte. Okay, yep, that's pretty darn good. The West roster: Carlos Boozer, Brett Nelson, Jason Capono, Jason Gardner, Casey Jacobson, Jonathan Bender, Brian Cook, Mike Dunleavy Jr., Nick Collison, Lavelle Blanchard, and Jason Richardson. Holy smokes! Holy smokes, that's a lineup. I mean, just on this West roster, Carlos Boozer, Jason Capono, Mike Dunleavy, Nick Collison, Jason Richardson. Are you kidding me? I know a lot less about this East roster. Obviously, Casey Sanders and Jason Williams were Duke guys, so I've at least heard of them before. Keith Bogans, obviously another name to know, but that, oh my gosh. And Joseph Forte, that's some pretty darn good talent there in Ames, Iowa for McDonald's All-American game. 0658 says Bender broke Jordan's scoring record that game. Oh, hello. Let's see if that's, yeah, wow. So they retire Jordan's jersey that day. Huh. March 24th, 99, Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa. During halftime, number 23 retired in honor of Michael Jordan. Casey Jacobson in this game was the last player to wear 23. In the 99 game, according to Wikipedia, said it saw several records being set here. Highest scoring game in the history of the event, 141 to 128. That West team ended up winning. Like you said, Jonathan Bender broke Jordan's All-American game record of 30 points by scoring 31 himself. Double-double, 31 and 10 for him. Carlos Boozer also put up 22 points. Jay Will put up 20 as well. Of the 21 of those guys, 15 of them went on to play at least a game in the NBA. That is crazy. That is an absolutely loaded roster. So 0658, you win that one. 1168, Nick Collison is my cousin, easily my favorite Jayhawk. Wow, you're cousins with Nick Collison. That's pretty darn cool. Did you ever beat Nick Collison one-on-one? That's what I need to know. 1168, did you ever beat Nick Collison in a game of one-on-one? Cool Hand Luke saw Eric Piatkowski. That's a pretty darn good one. Josh and Davey says for the Isaiah Roby thing, was in person for some pretty sick dunks at the vault. Yes, absolutely. Isaiah Roby was a pretty darn good dunker. I would say he was probably the third best college player on that team. Yeah, I'm going to settle at third best college player on the team I'm thinking of, that 17-18 team. I think Isaac Copeland was maybe a better basketball player in a vacuum, but I think Roby did more at Nebraska, did more up close and personal, and ended up not getting hurt. I would also take Glenn Watson and James Palmer Jr. as college players with their college careers over Isaiah Roby. I personally would. But of that group, yes, absolutely Isaiah Roby for the dunk. 63-48 says Kevin Durant hit a buzzer beater against the Spurs. Yes, he did. But I believe Nebraska also beat Kevin Durant at one point as well. Again, the college career, only 1 year for KD, the Slim Reaper Durantula, but that is an incredible player to get to see live. 53-79, Bobby Jackson and Bernard Gardner when they were at Western Nebraska out in Scottsbluff. Now that is incredible. So 53-79, that's pretty darn cool for you. Let's go with Lemon. Says, obviously Keisei Tominaga was the best college player I saw in person, or maybe Zach Edey will end up being the best. Just say Zach Edey. Right? Keisei was electrifying. Loved watching Keisei. Saw him my fair share of times, probably more than I deserved. But Zach Edey was a two-time back-to-back player of the year, right? You got to say Zach Edey was a better college player with a better college career than Keisei Tominaga. And even if you say that, there's no hate in your heart. We all love Keisei. We all know what he was about, how fun he was. But Zach Edey was the better college player. I'm just going to go there. Money G in Kansas. Albert Pujols and Lance Berkman when they played summer baseball in Hays, Kansas for the Hays Larks. Well, we're talking basketball, but that's still pretty freaking awesome, Money G. To see those two guys, two should be Hall of Famers, in Pujols and Berkman playing summer ball in college, that's pretty sick. 52-70 says Kyle Korver. Gross. Really darn good basketball player. Hate him because he went to Creighton. So that's a bit of a bummer that he's the best for you. Cubsker says probably would say Keegan Murray. That's an interesting one. Keegan Murray is a guy with a pretty darn underrated college career, I would say, for Iowa. It's a guy that the name we know, but I don't think we recognize just how good of a basketball player Keegan Murray was for the Iowa Hawkeyes, which also kind of unfortunate. Bubba, I got to see Strickland in person. Might be the best I've ever seen. Well, heck yeah. That's number one on my... No, I'm just kidding. I am not old enough to have watched Strick play in college. I just want to throw that out there, right? I was around for Strick's NBA tenure. I was not around to see Strick in college. So all y'all that saw Strick in college, you're a better co-host than I am. So 48-22, the 09 Tar Heels team. Yeah, that team in 2008-2009 that won the title was absolutely loaded. Let me pull up that roster because obviously it was led by Tyler Hansbrough. But let's see here. 2008-2009 Carolina. Yeah, they beat Michigan State by 17 points. The team had Wayne Ellington, Danny Green, and Ty Lawson all decide to withdraw from the 2008 NBA draft, come back to college in 2009. Add that to Tyler Hansbrough. Yeah, that's going to go pretty well for you. They finished 2 games clear of Duke in the race for the top of the ACC in the regular season. But that roster, so Ed Davis was a freshman, Larry Drew the second, obviously Wayne Ellington. You get Danny Green, Tyler Hansbrough, Patrick Lawson, like we said. Tyler Zeller was a freshman on that team, and Tyler Zeller in just a few years would end up living in Duke, Carolina infamy, and I will always appreciate him for what he did, helping key the comeback for Duke on the road against Carolina in that one. That was such a good Carolina team, much as I hate to say it. 34-4 overall, 13-3 in the ACC. Try to scroll through some of their interesting games. They beat Kentucky by 19, second game of the year. They went out and they won the Maui Invitational with absolutely no problems. Their closest game in that was 15 points. They take down Michigan State in the ACC Big Ten Challenge by 35 points. You'd get a rematch of that one in the national championship, and it wasn't even close. They lost a game to Boston College in the Dean Dome, which is a little weird. They went to Wake Forest, who was number 4 at the time, and lost that one by 3 points. They would lose at Maryland. They would lose in what I believe would be the semis of the ACC tournament against number 22 Florida State, and then dominated their way through the NCAA tournament. Their closest game would have been 12 points against 7th-seeded Oklahoma, which is kind of crazy to think. Lemon also saw Victor Oladipo. Man, what could have been for Vic Oladipo? That dude was a freaking baller in college. I still am so bummed that we missed out on more prime Victor Oladipo. Brad says the best player he ever saw in college was Joe McCray. Now, there's an interesting name. Pecan Pie missed out by a year of watching J.R. Ryder at my junior college in Kansas. Man, that would have been a fun one to watch as well. 38-80. Michael Beasley was a bad man. Michael Beasley was a bad man. I would love to go side by side and compare Michael Beasley's freshman year to Kevin Durant's freshman year. I mean, Michael Beasley was, again, one of those pain in the butts that, yeah, Kansas State's a solid basketball program, not ever really a true basketball power. But man, Michael Beasley, Jacob Pullen, that era of Kansas State, hated those teams. And I love that Michael Beasley ended up going to the Heat because I hated the Heat. It was so easy to root against them. Joe B. I saw Bryant Reeves play, a.k.a. Big Country, Oklahoma State. That is a guy that Stricky ended up playing against when he was in college. 44-24 says Strick was a baller in college, full of energy and fun to watch. Well, hey, at least he was full of energy at some point. Y'all need to help my boy Stricky out sometimes. He needs to pick me up. I do what I can. The text line, you got to gas my boy Strick up sometimes, right? Let's see that happy, peppy Strick. That's what we need. 49-63. Larry Bird, Darrell Griffith, and Danny Manning. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. That's a pretty darn good list there. Danny and the Miracles, the run that they made to the national championship. Larry Bird, Larry Legend, the Hick from French Lick, all that good stuff. Imagine watching Larry Bird in college. I can't even imagine. 84-54. Danny Manning against the Huskers was sweet in the Big Red. Yeah, that's one of the biggest, most important, coolest victories in Husker history for that team, for what it meant for that team the rest of their season, but also because of the run that Kansas team went on in the tournament. So to say you beat the national champs that really no one saw coming, you got him at the right time. Bubba, Blake Griffin was okay. No, Blake Griffin attended okay, but Blake Griffin was really good. Blake Griffin was so good. People forget he came back for another year. He wasn't a one and done, which people forget. His freshman year, he averages 14 points, 9 rebounds, and about 1.8 assists per game, and then has one of the best seasons in college basketball history as a sophomore. 33 minutes per game, shoots 65% overall. 65% as a forward. Not a back to the basket center like Edey, but a power forward wing type of guy. 65%, shot 38% from 3, 66% from 2. Not a good free throw shooter, only 59%, but he led the country in rebounding with 14.4 rebounds per game to go along with his 22.7 points per game. AP Player of the Year, unanimous All-American, Naismith Award winner, Wooden Award winner, Big 12 Player of the Year, all that good stuff. So, yeah, Blake Griffin was absolutely incredible in college. 0658. Forgot you're a Duke guy. Regret sharing my McDonald's All-Star Game story with you. Go Heels. Well, 0658, I still appreciate you sending it in. A lot of Duke representation in that game. Not nearly as much from North Carolina. But, hey, just a couple weeks here, 658. Get the first matchup of these two teams at the start of February. I am absolutely looking forward to it. One more before we go to break. Earthquake Blue says, I missed most of this, but Harold Miner in Devaney circa 1989 or so was awesome. Harold Miner is a name that we really overlook when it comes to basketball history. He was in college for, 3 years at USC? Yeah, I mean, he never averaged less than 20.6 points per game in that junior year before he declared for the draft. 26 points, 7 rebounds per game on 44% shooting overall, 35% from three, and a cool 81% at the free throw line. Harold Miner was a baller, y'all. 46-36 actually just throws in the last one. TJ Ford. TJ Ford's another interesting one. That's an interesting one. A lot of those guys are, I would say, better than the ones that I've seen in person. We're out of time this segment. I will go through the list of some of the best players I've seen in college basketball to wrap up hour one of Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and we wanted to give a special shout out to all of our great customers, thanking you all for a record-setting year in 2024. Now let's get the new year rolling with some big savings. Right now at Cobble, we have some of the biggest discounts in the area with over $12,000 off list price or 0% APR on select new models. So stop on in the dealership or hit us up online at cobblecars.com to get true low country overhead in action. $12,000 off list or 0% APR right now at Cobble. So please stop on in or visit us at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
Hey guys, this is Lexi Rodriguez, former Husker and now League One volleyball athlete. League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with our first serve on January 24th, 7 p.m. at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Ralston. Witness history in the making as we take on Love Madison in our first ever home match. Visit lovboma.com for tickets. First serve January 24th. Be there when it all begins. That's lovboma.com for tickets to watch Love Omaha Volleyball. Go Big Red and go Big Green.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. You see lots of sunshine with light winds, an afternoon high around 49. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a light breeze, below near 29. And tomorrow, we'll see increasing clouds throughout the day, winds picking up too. See a high near 51. I'm meteorologist Kyle Click from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
An hour ago, you didn't need a plumber. Now you're in a panic. When life throws you a surprise with a clogged drain, plugged or leaky toilet, broken pipe, leaky faucet or water heater, or a bathroom or kitchen plumbing upgrade, whatever. Just call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Keep that number handy, 467-1111. Or go to BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Still taking submissions for a few minutes of the best college basketball players you've seen in person. I'm Austin Norman. We go back to our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line here, 402-464-5685. 5786 says Rafe LaFrentz and Jacques Vaughn. Love those names. For me, in no particular order here, I was just thinking back through the games that I went to, scroll back through the schedule, and I'm pretty sure I saw all these guys. I know at least I was in college at the time and covering the team in some capacity. So if I didn't see these guys, my bad, but I'm very, very sure I did. Again, in no particular order, Grayson Allen, Marvin Bagley, I got to see those guys play in person when they were up in Omaha, and the team, the Kansas, ended up beating in the Elite Eight, led by Frank Mason, Devontae Graham, Udoka Azubuike. I guess Frank Mason was the year before. My buddy and I went down to the Nebraska-Kansas game at Fog Owl and saw Frank Mason there, but it was Devontae Graham, Udoka Azubuike that I saw beat that Grayson Allen and Marvin Bagley team. Those guys were incredible. I believe I saw Cassius Winston play in Lincoln. Going to go down as one of the most underrated point guards in Big Ten history. Dude was a stud. Luka Garza, unfortunately, I have to throw him on this list because he was really good. I never actually got to witness Zach Edey in person. I saw Matt Harms, but Nebraska takes down number 1 Purdue, and I wasn't in the building for that one. That one's going to eat at me for a little bit. I missed it for a good reason, a really good reason. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I never actually got to see Zach Edey. I was not in the building for Nebraska taking down number 1 Purdue last year. I've seen Ryan Kalkbrenner a couple times. Baylor Shireman I saw. Mo Wagner had a sneaky good college career that people forget. Trevion Williams was a big for Purdue that did some pretty nasty things to Nebraska, but the Huskers beat him at least once, if not twice as well. Marcus Carr is going to be a name people look back on and don't remember a whole lot about, but that dude was a thorn in Nebraska's side, goes from Minnesota or Pitt to Minnesota to Texas and helps lead some of those teams down there. Miles Powell, I saw in Nebraska beat Seton Hall. Sandro Mamukelashvili was on that team as well. Little tip of the cap to a guy like Marcus Zagorowski, who leaves Creighton early to go to the NBA draft. He was fine. He was solid, but again, my list is not nearly as impressive as some of yours. Anthony Cowan from Maryland was a guy that was really good for the Terps. Carson Edwards, I believe, I saw play at the same time I saw Trevion Williams play. Jordan Murphy from Minnesota, Ethan Happ from Wisconsin, Brad Davison, Jordan Bohannon, and Tyler Cook. The one name I skipped over there is one that I think if I had more time, I would dive into a little more, and that's Jarrett Culver from Texas Tech. That is a guy I thought was bound and destined to be an NBA All-Star. I thought he had the total package. He played for that Texas Tech team that ends up losing to Virginia in the national championship game in 2019, the 18-19 season. That Texas Tech team beat Nebraska down in Kansas City. Huskers take down Missouri State in the Hall of Fame Classic. Texas Tech beat, I want to say it was USC. I'm pretty sure it was USC that Texas Tech beat in the opening round of the Hall of Fame Classic. And then Texas Tech beats Nebraska that next day. It was Jarrett Culver. Tariq Owens was on that team. I think Brandon Francois was on that team as well. But Jarrett Culver was a stud. That's a guy that I think we forget about just because he really flamed out in the NBA. Went to the Timberwolves, and that's a guy I thought was going to have a longer, better NBA career. Last few from the text line here. 6265 saw Kevin Durant, Michael Beasley, and Blake Griffin. That was a heck of an era there for Big 12 Hoops. 0116 says Danny Manning, absolutely. Magic just got back in my pickup after driving a truck. Hope you guys mentioned Strick. Well, I never got to see Strick, right? I never got to see Strick, but y'all on the text line are telling me that this guy Strick was someone in college. So if he says it and if you guys say it, I guess I got to take your word for it. So that's a fun list. Really appreciate you guys diving through your memory banks with me. The reason that prompt was brought up, I think I'm going to see a couple really good players tonight. Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey for Rutgers. Can the Huskers get back on a winning streak after 2 straight losses? We will we'll find out at 8 o'clock tonight. Make sure you tune in for post-game after the game. I'll be down there. Follow me on Twitter at Austin_Orman for some live in-arena coverage. Old Dad 34, you brought up something that Jay Foreman's going to talk about. Thomas Fidone going pro. He enters the NFL draft. What does that mean for him? What does it mean for Nebraska? We'll get the Husker Hall of Famer on the line. Be back with Hour 2 of Old School in just a moment.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through January 29th is $2 off bacon, $2 off summer sausage, and 20% off on crackers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney and Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Hey guys, this is Lexi Rodriguez, former Husker and now League One volleyball athlete. League One volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with our first serve on January 24th, 7 p.m. at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Ralston. Witness history in the making as we take on Love Madison in our first ever home match. Visit lovboma.com for tickets. First serve January 24th. Be there when it all begins. That's lovboma.com for tickets to watch Love Omaha volleyball. Go Big Red and go Big Green.
The Body Lab, located at 14th and Yankee Hill, is Lincoln's premier physical therapy and recovery lab. The Body Lab offers trigger point dry needling, cupping therapy, joint manipulation, and so much more. Looking to relax and relieve stress after a long day or difficult workout? The Body Lab's recovery lab is the ideal spot. Featuring infrared sauna, a cold plunge tub, or if you're just looking for enough space to stretch out and reset your mind. Learn more about memberships and schedule your service today at thebodylablnk.com or visit the Body Lab in person at 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in hour 2 of Old School here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Austin Norman with you at 1040 O Street. Big thanks to the Mercado for their sponsorship of Old School. We're headed to our VIP line brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We bring them in number 44, number 56, a black shirt, Jay Foreman. What's up, Jay? How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How about you guys up there?
Oh, we're chilling. People are going off. Before we get to everything that's on your mind, and I know there's a lot there, ask the text line this question. We'd love to know your answer. Who is the best college basketball player you've ever watched in person?
Oh, man, that's a good question, man. College basketball player I ever watched in person.
I know you've seen some good ones.
Yeah. I mean, I was blessed to see. Strick was obviously good. Just take the guys that I saw all the time. But I'm gonna tell you what. I saw when my man Clem Haskins came down with the Gophers. They had Bashan Leonard and Bobby Jackson, and they put on a show along with the Huskers, man. And I got to see back then. I got to see like Ray LaFrance and all those guys at Kansas, Jock Bond. But I want to say it's a tie between Bobby Jackson, Bashan Leonard, and Steve Smith. And that was, Michigan State came and played, man. There was some real good ballers back then that came down and played that I can just, obviously think of just off the top of my head. I wasn't blessed enough to see Kevin Durant or anybody like that, but yeah, those are the ones I got to see live and in person, man. And when you can always tell, when they stick out amongst a bunch of great athletes, you'll see, those guys just stick out like a sore thumb in a good way.
That was kind of the prompt for the question, because I'll head down to PBA, and I'm curious to see if Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey fit in that category for me. But what's on your mind? I know you got some football stuff lined up. What you been thinking about?
Yeah, we'll get the Husker basketball towards the end of the 5 o'clock hour. But obviously, I think the big news coming out of the Husker camp is that, and along with national news. And so it's like 2 or 3 things here, Austin. First, I'm sure people have texted in, Fedoni decided to declare for the draft. Then on the opposite side, with potentially upwards to 8 million, Quinn Ewers decided to declare for the draft. And obviously kind of go back and forth whether those are good decisions. But then also, it's a unique look into college football and maybe where 2 different programs are. And maybe in Penn State and Texas, I'm talking about the retention. I'll call it the retention rate of definitely draft eligible and draftable guys versus Texas. Obviously, with their quarterback leaving and some other guys that have decided to come back, will Ohio State be a little bit of a pattern if you get to the Final Four in, the year prior, bring guys back, put some money in their pocket, and try to make a magical run like Ohio State?
I don't know, because you could see that if you are a perennial Final Four program, why guys would want to come back and run it back. But Jay, I think when you're at a program like an Ohio State or Georgia, I assume we'll get back in that conversation before too long. The mindset has just been, I'm here for 3 years, I'm out. I'm here for 3 years, I'm out. I'm here for 3 years, I'm out. Which is why I think the decision that say Jack Sawyer made to come back and help push Ohio State to a national championship game is an interesting one. I think that I like how college football does it, because it requires guys to be around for 3 years, really for their health and safety, right? Because if they went into the league as 18 or 19-year-old young men, that would not end well for them at all. So it does make sense just on a physical, natural biology level that these guys return. But we see that more in basketball, I think, Jay, where guys come back if they're fringe draft prospects compared to football, where these places like Ohio State and Georgia are factories. And not that it wouldn't mean anything to these guys to win a national championship, but that's where, like, Jack Sawyer, who came out as a super highly rated recruit, has been good for Ohio State, but not necessarily like a dominant, no doubt, first round pick, which is part of the reason he came back. But he can also say and help his NIL and help it boost the reputation of Ohio State. I like this program. I love this program. I mean, I'm a Columbus kid. I grew up around here. And he can say he's coming back to win a national championship. And that can be completely true. But it can also be because his draft stock probably wasn't where he wanted it entering the year. I just don't know how many of those guys like that are out there. But I'm curious to see if winning the college football playoff will draw more guys back compared to just having to win a 4-team playoff, or like the old BCS system, where if you weren't in the national championship game, that's where we started seeing some of those opt-outs.
Yeah, and I think it's an individual basis, but I see when you got Singleton and Katron Allen from Penn State coming back, it's a little along those lines.
Yeah.
Because I think that, those two and Sawyer are along, maybe in the same type of boat, right? Definitely would get drafted, without a doubt. Maybe not as high as they could possibly the next year. But I think all of them had really good seasons. Now, for Sawyer, it's bigger than that. He's an Ohio kid. He was a really, really highly recruited, not only football player, the number one player and one of the top defensive ends coming out, but then also he was a really good basketball player. Mm-hmm. But then you got to think, he's thinking long term. Not only if they're able to get over the hump and win a national championship, he's probably got a pretty sweet NIL deal and probably had one before, but really, really good this year. And so then you got to think it's adding on after he does or finishes his pro career. He's thinking long term. And, what these guys have to weigh is, yeah, you could have a really good year in college, but you have to see the supply and demand. Like with Quinn Ewers, he probably is banking on his arm talent and the lack of true, a true number 3 quarterback in the draft, right? He probably figured that if he interviews well and Steve Sarkisian, who is well respected in the NFL, gives him, is going to give him his blessing, he can move up to number 3 and start to gain some ground right under Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. So the upside for him to turn pro early is a little bit easier than, say, Jack Sawyer last year, where he had a good year, not a great year. Pamalalu, who's the big defensive end, number 44, he came back, which is actually probably more a surprise. He's been dominant this year. And then Jack Sawyer has obviously had a dominant playoff run and played pretty dang good, obviously, in the game against Michigan. So it works out for you if you have all the knowledge, I think, and then make a really, really good both business and football decision. But then also you got to have more guys come back that have the same goals, and they truly came back for all the right reasons, and it's paying off for them. And, it varies, right? It varies, team to team and year to year. You can see like, okay, well, just like some of the junior players at Indiana, will they stay there and then continue along the process of being that kind of coach in the locker room, spreading Signetti's, message to all the young guys and the new recruits coming in? Because the familiarity of 17 guys coming over from James Madison is now gone because it was very, very senior laden. So now the guys that are left over either could have jumped ship or maybe will in the spring portal or in the next portal opening based on what's coming in. It could be a very, very, drastically new team. And so it's very interesting to see how like players will approach it. Players will, approach the transfer portal, because within the next year or two, the easy money is going to be gone. And so you won't, see these enormous like NIL options and deals in the portal. And that's where, like, look, when we look right, in our own backyard, whether, with Fedoni, whether he has to, you weigh your injury history, you weigh your production, you weigh your role at the present team that you're at or university that you just finished, and then possibly where you could go and have an expanded role, not given to you, but, they'll bring you in and pretty much count on you, hope, and expect you to be the number one option. And so if that's not out there and you've been in college enough, he's graduated, he's a smart kid, he's probably done pretty well NIL, here locally. And then he's, figuring out, the worst case scenario, everything stays healthy and he tests out well, he can, either get drafted mid to late rounds or get into somebody's camp and prove everybody wrong. So It's a unique situation. I'm a big believer, and I'll let you go, Austin. Sorry if I go a little bit long. I truly believe that I like a little bit more of a guarantee, because then therefore I can take a clear picture and try to move up faster. You get what I mean? That means if I got some holes in my game, I'm gonna work my damnness to try to plug those bad boys.
For sure. And of course, there are no guarantees ever, but the closest thing you can get to a guarantee is, I think, what all these guys are searching out. When it comes to Thomas Fidone, Jay, it is such an interesting spot for him to be in, because I think Husker fans are still wondering what if about the knee injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, one to either side, but it's not up to the NFL to wonder what if this, what if that. And Thomas Fidone also can't be stuck in what if mode. I think that there are some people that when they hear Thomas Fidone is going pro, it's, oh, what are you doing? You're an injury risk. You don't have that much film out there. You don't have that much tape. What are you doing? Come back to school, dominate for a year, and then you'll be able to plug and play at the NFL level. Okay, fine. You can talk me into that. But I also think the other side of this, Jay, is that Thomas Fidone has played in all 25 games Nebraska's had the last 2 years. Has he played every snap? No, but he's been a solid contributor. I mean, 61 catches for 600 yards, 4 touchdowns over that time frame. Again, playing in all 25 games the last 2 years after missing the previous 2 years with really bad knee injuries that sucked him out of the player that we all thought he was going to be. That's a testament to him. So I think if I'm Thomas Fidone, I can see the thought process of, I've been healthy for 2 years. I've put the injuries behind me. I have a clear picture of who I am as a player now, what I can do, what I can't do, where I need to get better, where I'm strong. I'm not going to come back and risk another year of college because I have been healthy for 2 years. Maybe I could dominate and have a good year, but I've already proven that the biggest question, teams would ask about me, is this guy able to stay healthy? In Thomas Fidone's mind, I think he's answered that the last couple of years by, again, playing in all 25 games Nebraska's had. So because of that, and because he's put up decent numbers and he still has a little bit of that prospect pedigree attached to him, I completely get why he would make the move to go in and stay in the NFL draft.
Yeah, I mean, and, hopefully, he's getting the right, information from, agents and you got to make sure your agent that you're approaching is giving you the best information for you, not for him, and potentially like that. And for him, I think, the injuries aren't as looked as bad as or down, or down upon like it was when I was coming out. And he's battled back every single time, and both of them were kind of freak injuries. He's a big, big, strong looking, prospect. He's had some, production. He's got pretty decent hands. And, really, I think you have to find a team that figures like, you know what, I like this kid. There's a lot of tread left on the tire. Doesn't have, really, to be honest with you, doesn't have a lot of experience. It really just has like 2 years, and he played like a game or two as a freshman. And so there is some upside as long as he can stay healthy. And then you got to really, really work on, the things that you need to add to his game, right? You got to be a little bit more of a consistent and efficient blocker and learn how to run the nuances of the route, the route tree. But that's anybody coming out of college. Now, as long as he tests out well, which I'm sure he will, because if you look at him, he looks like he lives in the weight room and he interviews well and all that stuff. And I know he doesn't have any off the field, like issues or anything like that. He'll be just fine. And then also the thing you have to weigh is like, what would be potentially your role in this offense at Nebraska, which we saw, maybe a little bit change and more, and you saw in the bowl game, Lindenmeyer, obviously Carter Nelson's coming. They have the one walk-on that just showed up at the front door from LSU that got hurt. And he's a big, strong, like legit guy that's going to, be a plug and play as long as he stays healthy. And then you have the kind of maybe a little bit of a move, and I don't know this, but a little bit of a move away from as 12 personnel as much as they had been. And they do it. They'll run 12 personnel with a little bit different, right? You got to think also, you got Heinrich Harburg is kind of that hybrid out there. So they're looking to get physical with those hybrid type of players and maybe one tight end and have the depth there. And then they have some good tight ends as well. That they, got, I think they got a big guy from Papillion La Vista that's a pretty good blocker. And so he's up and coming. So, it's kind of one of those things where they probably would take him back and it'd be, he could, but then it'd be like, would it be fruitful? And what is the, NIL and opportunity, to do so, to be, be productive, to essentially up not only your production, but then also your profile. And then also you got to look at how many tight ends, besides the known guys, right? Whether it's Warren, or the tight end from Texas, or, and Loveland from Michigan. Just off the top of my head, those are the main three. But then after that, you got to get in where you fit in. So at some point in time when you go to the NFL, no matter if you used up all your eligibility or deciding to go early, you got to bet on yourself, man, because you got to have a lot of confidence in what you will do in the underwear Olympics, and then how good you are and how good your tape is, or what the production that you put on tape. And that's why, I'm a big believer in, when you think about NIL and all this stuff, your best NIL, your best selling point isn't you like your Instagram and taking pictures and all that. It's what you do on the football field. And now everything that you do social media wise should elevate that and accentuate that. So for Fedoni, I'm sure he's feeling comfortable in his decision, and now the real work comes, because now it's a job. So that isn't an option. Well, I mean, he's a hard worker, but for some of these guys, even when they get in the portal, right, and they have like a little bit of a downtime before they got to report, you are a professional. You're getting paid. So every day is a work day. There is no more like, this is a rest day. I need a me day. No, you have an obligation, not only to the university and whoever your check writers are, but let alone to yourself. Because your NIL, which I feel is the most important thing, is on the field, could come up short. I don't know if you saw the video of Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, said, listen, man, if I see some D's and F's, your bank account's going to come up a little light. So there is an obligation to point to it now, because the curtain is, pulled fully back. Now you can kind of pay for play. And so there is accountability to some point. And then obviously the biggest accountability is going to be, obviously what you do in practice, in the weight room, classroom, and then of course on Saturdays, come the fall.
It absolutely will. Two things that you said I want to hit on here really quick. Number one, the betting on yourself part. I think that's good to continue to hit on, because I don't think these guys, for the most part, and I hope that for the most part, they aren't making rash decisions. Oh yeah, I'm good enough. Without a doubt, I got to go. You got to. It's pros and cons list, right? What's good? What's bad? What am I good at? What do I need to improve at? What could go right, but also what could go wrong? But the focus of preparing for an NFL draft instead of another year of college isn't what if I get hurt again in college, then I have no shot at going to the NFL. The focus is, I think I've put enough on tape. I've answered the questions. So I believe in my work ethic, my talent to make myself stick on an NFL roster, especially in Fedoni's case. But I do think, Jay, we've seen kind of just big picture here with Nebraska, that more often than not, 95% of the time or more, Nebraska is going to be a program, at least in Matt Rule's design, where these guys do come back for that extra year, right? We saw that with Ty and Nash this year, talked about it a lot. John Bullock could have moved on. He didn't. He decided to return. Nebraska, I don't think, is going to be a program that consistently has guys figuring out if they want to come back for a fourth year, right? Nebraska is not going to be a program that I think puts a lot of guys into the NFL after 3 years, like, say, in Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, the list of those schools goes on and on. So I think then for Nebraska, continuing to build the culture, to be a place that guys like to return to, Nebraska, to me, strikes me as a program that, like we see in college basketball, Jay, will get better the older it gets, right? Young guys that are in the system that are good. You need NFL talent to succeed at the highest level of college football. I mean, those teams that have more guys drafted typically do better. But I do think Nebraska can make it work on a national level with a little bit of NFL talent here and there, enough NFL talent at key spots, but just have a bunch of really good college players that are around in their third, fourth, fifth years that love Nebraska, that might have a shot at the NFL, but it would mean more to them, in the here and now to win a national title or, a Big Ten championship or whatever it is at Nebraska. That, to me, in the retention of guys for that extra year, 4 to 5 instead of year 3 to 4, strikes me as the model for Nebraska moving forward.
Yeah, it's gonna have to. I mean, the biggest thing that you need is the guys that are supposed to be your A+ players. They got to play like A+. The excuses have got to. First of all, the excuses have got to get out of their system immediately. So they have to take hold of it, and they have to embrace the expectations, the accountability, and then of course the pressure. And I always say pressure is just stress you haven't dealt with, and so you have to make sure, if you want to be elevated to a certain level, you have to operate it and act like that every single day. And then obviously it would become more of a habit and just who you are versus a situational thing. And then when you talked about the players that, that you can come in and develop and then they can, get on the field, well, often I'm going to tell you, that's where a lot of NFL players come from. The guys that have developed in college, gained the confidence, they're the strongest that they can be, the fastest that they can be. They get a ton of plays. And those guys are probably, play on your three, core, they play on either offense, defense, and they play special teams. Those are the guys that are willing to go in and they'll grind and make teams, and then they'll carve out a way on an NFL roster, whether it's practice squad, on the active roster, or the UFL or Canada, because they've been through the grind before. Where you really, really run into trouble is two things. And this is a little bit of when guys turn pro, right? And you saw this with some guys earlier before Matt Rule got here, is that they turned pro when they could have came back. I think of a guy like Austin Allen, you should have came back. You had a guy like maybe Damian Daniels, you could have came back. You have to make sure when you evaluate and bet on yourself, you can't be encapsulated of, I was good at Nebraska on this team, because there's 135, Power 4 teams or however many there is. They all got good players. And then now with the, parity, you got kids coming from North Dakota State, South Dakota State. There's good players everywhere. So you got to make sure that you have to look at your tape and have good, honest conversations with people maybe outside of your inner circle that are actually going to get you to think about maybe not just the April, think about next April. Because when you think about it, if I knew, for me, for instance, right? Now, granted, mine was probably a little bit predicated on the Ricky Williams trade, and there was a ton of really good linebackers. But just say I had a 5th or 4th to 7th round grade. That's me, right? And I could come back to Nebraska to make probably a little bit, maybe more than what my sign-in bonus would be, average, if you did it over there. I'll probably come back, have an insurance policy, because I know I'm going to be bigger, faster, and stronger. And I just equate it to like my rookie year in the NFL. If I played my senior, it would have been child's play. Now, and that's just being just a year older. And so, the NFL, is going to be with the way that like they do the cap, and, if you're vested or not, another year in college, as long as you're healthy, isn't going to work against you like it's the NBA. Where the NBA, the younger you go into the NBA, you say like, okay, I'll get paid to get developed. You'll be in a G League team or whatever you call it, and you'll be associated with the whatever the house team is. Whereas in the NFL, they just care about how good you are, because let's be honest, there's no longevity besides like Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, probably Jim Harbaugh will be there as long as he wants. There's very few teams that have continuity and longevity in the coaching staff. So that means that the evaluation staff or the scouting staff, they have turnover as well, because you might not be when the coach gets fired the first time, but then the second time the GM gets fired, the whole scouting department, a majority of those guys are gone. And then when they go other places, they're not really worried how old you are. They're worried about your injury history and how productive you are, and then what's your salary cap number. And everybody picks and chooses what 3 in that order it goes in. So, it's really interesting to see, what happens here moving forward. But I think Nebraska can carve out their nice little, or however they want to do it, and be really, really, really competitive. And then it's going to come down to the players that got to play. They got to, they got to perform. And that's at any level, whether you're a starter, you're a developmental player. If you're a guy that's, they're expecting you to start to gradually get better, then you have to be on target, and you got to gradually get better, and you got to be productive when, the time, calls for you to be productive. And so, that's how they, could do it. And that's hopefully how they will do it. And there's different versions you could take from maybe all these teams in college football playoffs from all 12, and then just bring it here and just see what you like and don't like, and see how well it works.
And that's just the thing, right? You can't try to be someone you're not. You got to be true to yourself and build the program in the way that it has to be built for Nebraska, because Nebraska's not Georgia, not Ohio State. But there's also nothing wrong with copying success. So let's go to break here, Jay. More college football on the other side?
Oh, yeah. We're going to get into it because the college football Hall of Fame list is on there, and I wanted to, talk to you about, obviously, Urban Meyer, obviously how it ended. Now we know what happened at Florida. We know what the recruiting of the players and all that stuff. Does he go in at the same level of iconic status, maybe if he would have went in, say, 5 years ago versus now? So We'll talk about that. It's Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call John Henry's at 402-435-5555 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-435-5555.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Old School on the Ticket Off. Norman with you here. Jay Foreman on our VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Jay, College Football Hall of Fame, take it away.
Yeah, Urban Meyer. Well, there's obviously 25 guys. You got like Ryan Yarborough. Then obviously Urban Meyer is leading the charge. I don't know who's all in. There is an interesting fact. I think this is the 5th year in a row Ohio State has a coach. Right? You talk about having a marker corner that's like going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and you're a former Pittsburgh Steeler. You getting in. You ain't have to wait that long. And Urban Meyer obviously is a coach that's obviously, he's iconic. He's great on TV. Obviously had the mishap when he was the Jacksonville Jaguars coach. But then, when he was at Ohio State and how he left Ohio State was interesting to me in the sense of it was out of nowhere. And I think with the wide receiver coach, what he knew and didn't know. But then you have the Florida situation with Aaron Hernandez, and you just wonder, being on so good on TV, and I'm not saying he shouldn't be in there, but I'm just posing a question. Being really, really good on TV, does that mask some of the transgressions that he maybe has had in his willingness to, I guess, recruit kids, take kids in that definitely probably don't pass the background check or things that, are associated with like Tim Tebow, with Chris Leak and all that type of stuff. Or was it a matter of that's the way it was and he got away with it because it was a little bit less known at that time what was really going on behind the wall?
Yeah, it's an interesting case because if you look just at the record, Urban Meyer is a no doubt Hall of Famer. If you just look at that, which leads me to the conclusion, Jay, that Urban Meyer's kind of like the steroid era baseball guys. Not a perfect comparison because Urban Meyer, for as good a coach as he was, he's not, Barry Bonds. He's maybe Manny Ramirez in this conversation, maybe Roger Clemens. I don't know. Urban Meyer's a darn good coach. And I think that should be what holds the majority of the weight in these discussions, what you did on the field. But we also have an expectation of our coaches to be men of character, to make good decisions, to be leaders of men, especially the college level, to help, grow, mold, shape young minds into decent members of society, with football being the vehicle for that. And that's why I do think that going on TV helped Urban Meyer. Whether or not you thought he was good on TV, bad on TV, deserved the job or not, Jay, how many times do we see these borderline Hall of Fame guys? And again, I'm not trying to call Urban Meyer borderline, but throughout sports, if you're a fringe Hall of Famer, you're a really good player, just a pretty good player, you can get into the Hall of Fame just because you know the right people, because you shook the right hands, greased the right wheels. Yeah. And I think Urban Meyer was in anyways. But I do think Urban Meyer taking the job at Fox now, granted, there's a lot going on behind the scenes at Fox right now, so maybe they weren't necessarily the best judges of character all along. But regardless, someone or a couple people with some professional reputation that carries some weight had to sign off on adding Urban Meyer. And that is going to carry some weight for some voters. Urban has talked to plenty of people in the know about Hall of Fame voting. So even if going to Fox wasn't what pushed his candidacy over the line, I'm sure in some people's mind, oh, yep, he's a different person. Yep, he's one of the good guys at Fox. And just by knowing him, you don't think about it just because you have so many other conversations with him. It certainly didn't hurt Urban Meyer's reputation to go to Fox, even if I don't know if it necessarily scrubbed all the red out of his ledger.
Yeah, well, I think, it's a little bit of both. I think, you've seen it in the NFL where, I think obviously it's kind of like I equate to Steve Young, right?
Yeah.
Steve Young is no doubt a Hall of Famer, or was, or he is, or he was, eventually going to be. But, there's a big emphasis on first ballot. First ballot to me is like Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Peyton Manning, obviously Brady, Randy, but those guys, right? I probably wouldn't put him in the same category of that, considering I consider Joe Montana first ballot. But when you get on TV, and Steve Young is really, really good on TV, you're seen more often. You're seen by the voters because they see or hear you every single day almost when you're commentating or calling football games. And that's the same thing with Urban Meyer. You got to think, when he got done coaching and jumped into the first time on FS1, he was phenomenal. And then he went back. He went to Jacksonville, and then they welcomed him back, and he's really, really good on TV. So now you see the Urban Meyer that everybody fell in love with, and now they made him a really, really good recruiter. And I'm not dogging him by no means. And like you said, I'm not nowhere near trying to say that he's not worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. All I'm saying is when you get into the College Football Hall of Fame, you know, some of those things, you know, work in your favor as far as a factor of getting you in maybe a little bit earlier under different circumstances that you normally wouldn't get in, when you get in, how you get in, and then also when you're involved in the media, you know, the more guys, and there's more media outlets, there's more media opportunities, right? So then there's guys that get kind of like overlooked, you know, and the criteria, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, text line is like, I mean, you got to be either win a, you know, if you win like a Remington Award, which our own Aaron Davis will be the MC once again. He does a really good job next Saturday at I think at Rococo. Make sure if you can get tickets, go. But then, or one of those, or Lombardi or something like that, you're automatically in. But then also, if you're an All-American, you get in, I think, as well. But you got to think when you're an All-American at the time that I played versus when some of these other newer guys played, you can kind of get, you know, washed to the wayside. You know, I mean, obviously, you look at, you know, Grant Wisham's in. Obviously, he won. I think he won the Nagurski and the Lombardi. But when you think about it, you know, Jason Peter was flat out. He was the dude that was the most dominant. You know, at the beginning, you know, he dominated every Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame player that he went against. But he hasn't in yet. So then you got to just kind of wait your turn and stuff like that. And I also think when you're whatever school you're associated with last is doing well, it bodes well for you too.
Yeah. And
I mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been very, very consistent. I know that, you know, everybody's mad at Mike Tomlin for winning another 10 games or 11 games, whatever he won, and he's always in the playoffs. But you're constantly in the news. So if you think of Jay Foreman, if I was associated with Pittsburgh and I'm up for one of those honors, well, just it's subconscious that you're thinking about how well the team is doing right then, and you're associated with it. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and some guys get looked over. But obviously, Urban, you know, definitely is deserving. But it's also, you know, a little bit of a unique situation because while he was coaching, I guess what he was saying, you know, the players that he was wanting and doing were probably a little bit different than what he was actually, you know, allowing in his program and so forth and so on. And that's, you know, that happens everywhere. And you never know what happens when young kids with a lot of ego, testosterone, whatever you want to call it, get into the mix and things can get out of whack. So, you know, everything he did wasn't all bad, but I just think of a very iconic, polarizing figure like Urban Meyer and the way it ended in Jacksonville and then the way it's essentially not even talked about now. I just wonder if it helped him get into maybe the Hall of Fame, you know, maybe a process or two faster than normally, say, well, I can't say Lane Kiffin because he's had a magical turnaround, but just say you've had a coach that kind of fell on their face and had some transgressions outside of football and didn't get into the media, but was a really, really good coach. And here you want to know another example, right? You know, rest in peace. You know, Mike Leach, you know, his winning percentage, you know, by his winning percentage. Now he's definitely a Hall of Fame coach because I think when you go to small colleges and you take on those jobs at that point in time and you're able to build a winner, your record isn't reflective of you being a Hall of Fame coach. You know, when you're down at Texas Tech and you're, you know, rubbing nickels and try to figure it out, you know, you're doing some coaching, you know, and so, you know, I think he's one win, you know, short. Then obviously, unfortunately, he passed away. But you got to think his personality, social media presence, his new found stardom is going to get him pushed in, and they'll make an exemption for him based on that. So it works both ways, right? And you know, it's just really, really interesting when you have really, really polarizing coaches because you know, as much as you know, coaches work in the obviously they, you know, don't like to recruit because of NIL and they're not really recruiting them. They're just paying them. They are almost to the level of highly visible, obviously well compensated politicians. They are just as big as the starting quarterback on the team based on obviously their pay grade, but then the amount of notoriety they get as well.
I've been reading a lot recently, Jay, on the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame because the new first time eligible players came out and ballots have been out for a little bit. They're due in not too long. And that's why I really respect people like a Jason Stark or a Ken Rosenthal who go in depth about their selections, why they made them, why they didn't. The problem is that that's not everyone, right? I'm not a Hall of Fame voter. Maybe someday I'll be lucky enough to do it. And I hope that if that comes true, I uphold the standard that I'm about to say, because we don't think about on the outside as just media members, whether we cover a player or not. We don't realize the power of the name and the legacy that these players have in their communities, to their teams, and to other teams as well, right? I mean, it is a big honor to be in the Hall of Fame, and it's not necessarily a shame if you're not in the Hall of Fame, but what the extra juice, the title of Hall of Famer can bring to a team, to a program, is massive. And every person on the ballot, right? I know it's a lot of them for college football. It's always a lot of them for baseball as well. I'm sure it's the same in basketball and other sports, but every one of them deserves to have the right research done, because it's not just about the stats. You can't just gloss over the numbers and say, oh, yep, these numbers pass the eye test, these numbers don't pass the eye test, this is a Hall of Famer. It's not. It's so easy to draw these blanket conclusions and set these, hard and fast baselines or minimums or thresholds that a player must reach for you or a coach must reach for you to put him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. I'm not saying you don't need standards. What I'm saying is it's hard to always want to go and dive into the context of the era or the surroundings with these players. Same thing with the off the field stuff, right? I still believe that it's what's on field that should matter most, but you can't just ignore the off field stuff, because it does play a part of it. And we need to credit the guys that were good in the locker room, that were good in the clubhouse, that were good in the community, that held a special place in the hearts of their community, not letting them in for charity reasons or, oh, you were a good guy. Yeah. And, bump elbows, shake hands, whatever, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'll do my part to get you in because I like you. There's a very fine line to be drawn there for every case and for some voter in some market. And it's hard to separate the emotional from the rational, the numeric from the off the field and whatever it is. But I think we owe it to these players to, as fairly as we can, judge their resumes on and off the field. We owe it to the teams, to the communities, into the Hall of Fame, because we can't just let everyone in, but you can't keep good players out as well. And that's why I think these Hall of Fame conversations are always so fascinating, because there's really not a right or wrong answer. All I can hope is that the guys and girls that vote on such things are being fair to the players as best they can in their minds.
Yeah, and and you see it, and you can't let personal feelings and all that stuff. You got to weigh everything, and you're completely right. What's done on the field, you got to take in the air, because you got to think. I remember, like I always talk about that, and I know you're up against the break. Meeting David Ortiz and him telling me, like, I just want to hit 20 home runs. Well, if you hit 20 home runs in this day and age of Major League Baseball, you're known as like a slap hitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, back then you hit 20 home runs, and let alone 30, you were a power hitter. So it was definitely a different game at different times, and so you got to respect it all. But we'll take a quick break, then I'll come back or we'll come to Austin, myself, come back on Old School. I'll give a couple of thoughts on what Nebraska needs to do tonight against two potential lottery picks, two phenomenal freshmen coming in here from Rutgers with a tip-off here with late 8 o'clock. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through January 29th is $2 off bacon, $2 off summer sausage, and 20% off on crackers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bebignow.org.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And Electrical.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and we wanted to give a special shout out to all of our great customers, thanking you all for a record-setting year in 2024. Now let's get the new year rolling with some big savings. Right now at Cobble, we have some of the biggest discounts in the area with over $12,000 off list price or 0% APR on select new models. So stop on in the dealership or hit us up online at cobblecars.com to get true low country overhead in action. $12,000 off list or 0% APR right now at Cobble. So please stop on in or visit us at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
What's going on, fans? This is Lexi Rodriguez, 4-time All-American at Nebraska and now proud member of Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League One Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering us on in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green!
At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through January 19th, enjoy USDA Choice Boneless Beef Rump Roast for $4.99 per pound. All natural boneless pork roast for $1.99 per pound, 5-ounce tuna steak and mahi-mahi fillets $2.99 each, and chicken chili Crispitos, 99 cents a piece. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, you see lots of sunshine with light winds and acting high around 49. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a light breeze, below near 29. And tomorrow, we'll see increasing clouds throughout the day, winds picking up too. See a high near 51. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One final segment here on Old School Lost Norman with you. Here, Jay Foreman on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber. Huskers and Rutgers, Jay, couple hours away. What you got? Jay?
Yep.
Nebraska Rutgers, what you got?
I mean, obviously Nebraska's reeling. Probably the last. Obviously, the overtime wasn't good, and obviously let's just say the last three halves of basketball have not been good. Three and a half halves of basketball has not been up to Nebraska standards. But I don't think it's time to panic. I think it's a time to really get back and really get back to what they've done well and what they're known for. Right? We got to lock in on defense. Yes, they're coming in. They're ultra talented. Two phenom freshmen with Harper and then Ace Bailey, but ultimately they're easy to find. They're going to be ball dominant, and so you can really, really confuse them and give them everything that they've heard about Nebraska defense, especially at home. And so, yes, the crowd is going to have to be a factor, but the biggest factor is Nebraska creating the I guess the want to for the crowd to be a huge factor, which has been great asset at PBA. And so they're going to have to shoot it well. They're going to have to be really, really good, as far as space in the court. They're going to have to cut hard against this Rutgers team because they have some length. And with Ace Bailey, being tall and lanky, 6'9", 6'10", when he decides to play defense and rebound the ball, he's tall and gangly and he can kind of get in your way, right? So that's where, our size and strength have got to get into his chest and wear him down. But then also the biggest thing that we need to do, which I think actually helps the defense as well, is really, really be efficient and execute on offense. And what I mean by that, Austin, make them play defense. Because if you know anything about, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, they are very, very skilled and they are really, really good on offense. And they will play D, but they don't like to play defense. And it's not just hold the ball and all that. But if you just run into the same spot, playing with the same energy, not changing up your pace, in the first or secondary break, you're making it too easy on them. You want them to think about defense while they're on offense, trying to get their shots off. And then eventually you'll be able to clamp down on them because it'll slow them down, which then will slow this Rutgers offense down. And then it'll allow the defense to lead the way to more offense at PBA here in a couple hours.
I think Dylan Harper is the one that's more willing to play defense. I mean, his brother grew up in the system, but I think he's backed off a little bit, Jay, just because Rutgers is asking so much of him offensively. I think if Rutgers had gotten a little more consistency from Ace Bailey and had, one or two guys even just shooting the ball better from long range, Harper would feel a little better about locking in more consistently on defense. But I do think that Juwan Gary is the primary matchup for Ace Bailey tonight, and I think I like that for Nebraska. I mean, Bailey can do some stuff you just can't teach. I mean, he looks like a young Kevin Durant, shoots it kind of like him as well. But I think you raise a good point in that Juwan Gary can make his own life a lot easier in having to defend Ace Bailey, primarily is my guess, by hitting the offensive glass, right? If Bailey doesn't want to defend and he doesn't want to check out, go to the glass, right? Hit him. Don't foul him, right? Don't climb up his back and get yourself in trouble because there's not a lot of great matchups for Ace Bailey in college basketball, let alone on Nebraska's roster. But I think if Juwan Gary is consistently physical on the offensive glass, if he can get into Ace Bailey's chest on a baseline drive or two without being reckless with it, I think if you can add up those body blows throughout the first half and then really hit him to start the second half, when he thinks he has the rest, he thinks he's good to go, and you come out with an extra, 5 or 10%, more strength and oomph. I don't want to say Ace Bailey's a quitter. I don't believe that, but he's a young freshman that doesn't necessarily want to play defense, and they're on a bit of a rough stretch right now. I mean, they've lost 3 out of 4. They beat UCLA. Now they're back on the road for a decently long trip. I don't want to say Rutgers is a team that will quit on. I mean, Steve Peichel won't allow them to do that, but I think if you can, put a lot of pressure on Dylan Harper and just stack up the body blows on Ace Bailey, that'll go a long way for Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is they're right for the picking. They're right for the situation that they're coming in for. You got two, I wouldn't say desperate teams, but you got two teams trying to get back on track. I mean, obviously, Rutgers has a little bit of a winning feeling, but I think, if I know anything about this team and Fred Hoiberg, they're going to get their best shot tonight. So, and the energy should be, magnificent, and along with, a couple pissed off, seniors that need to, get some get back. So, anyways, good show, Austin. I will be back tomorrow.
Let's go.
So it will be a short trip. Look forward to it. But that is old school for today on Thirsty Thursday. I want a big shout out to E. Strick and his holiday. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, old school. We'll holler at you.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
What's going on, fans? This is Lexi Rodriguez, four-time All-American at Nebraska and now proud member of Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League One Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering us on in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and we wanted to give a special shout out to all of our great customers, thanking you all for a record-setting year in 2024. Now let's get the new year rolling with some big savings. Right now at Cobble, we have some of the biggest discounts in the area with over $12,000 off list price or 0% APR on select new models. So stop on in the dealership or hit us up online at cobblecars.com to get true low country overhead in action. $12,000 off list or 0% APR right now at Cobble. So please stop on in or visit us at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50